she's away and I wanna kiss her face. She thinks she's in over her head. She thinks she's the only one who goes crazy. Picks up the phone when she thinks she heard it ring. Hugging her pillow every night when she's asleep. But she's not the only one when I'm with her. I can't sleep, wanna know what she's dreaming. Falling in love to the sound of her breathing. Trying to hide, but it's easy to see that. But she's not the only one, she's not the only one. You've got those bright eyes looking through mine. I'm trying to figure out if there's any more doubt in my mind. You can test me, oh confess please. 'Cause I know you've been watching, waiting for me to fall, so you can catch me. The one thing she don't know is I never let show is that I miss her when she's away and I wanna kiss her face. She thinks she's in over her head. She thinks she's the only one who goes crazy. Picks up the phone when she thinks she heard it ring. Hugging her pillow every night when she's asleep. But she's not the only one when I'm with her. I can't sleep, wanna know what she's dreaming. Falling in love to the sound of her breathing. Trying to hide, but it's easy to see that. But she's not the only one, she's not the only one. Yeah. No, she's not the only one. How we get here feels like 10 years. Knew each other, I was so real. I don't know how I feel. My heart needs some place to rest.
Oh, what I would do, just a moment with you, is all I really need. When the light's shining through, all I see is you, is all I really need. Just a moment with you, just a moment with you, is all I really need.
Yeah.
Just a moment with you, just a moment with you, is all I really need.
Don't wanna miss a thing, so stay wide awake. I only come out at night, but we're still looking for sign. When I wake up, oh, I can't help but to wonder, is this even real?
Oh, what I would do, just a moment with you, is all I really need. When the light's shining through, all I see is you, is all I really need. Just a moment with you, just a moment with Look into my eyes and don't be shy. Feel the music in your blood tonight. Feel the rhythm in my bones. What do you say? I don't know. Nah, I can't hear you out, yeah. Follow through.
Hi, friends. Sorry, there's like a giant truck outside for a second, so it was hard to hear. So today we're going to finish up the sermon that we were watching yesterday, because we didn't get through all of it, because it was really long. I don't know if we'll get through all of it today either, but I wanted to finish it up, because it's interesting to hear what he has to say, and I don't know, yesterday it just made me think about, like, how they use, like, certain phrases and stuff in the church to make you think that what they're saying is true. Which, like I said before, if you know anything about... Sorry, my voice is going. If you know anything about witchcraft or what actual Satanists believe, those things don't intertwine, so it's always weird to me that people don't look into these things and make sure that what they're being told is true, but they don't have to, because it's an authority. You have to obey authority in the church and just listen to them and believe whatever they say, which makes it hard because people don't question and they don't look into what they should look into. Yeah, yesterday was definitely an interesting one. And I learned some things from him. Apparently, the most satanic television series there's ever been is I Love Lucy. Because he, I guess, Ricky Ricardo recorded a song to a different deity than the God of the Bible, which apparently that makes him satanic, so... Welcome to Christian logic. We looked at that, which is interesting, because you think about all the other TV shows that are on, even today, like, there's a lot more TV shows today that I would think Christians would think were way more satanic than I Love Lucy, because, I mean, one song is ridiculous, but I mean, there are whole series and stuff about, like, Supernatural, and Buffy, and Charmed. Like, these are things that had, like, actual witchcraft in them, and had actual, all that supernatural stuff that this guy supposedly is fighting against. I would think those would top the list, as opposed to I Love Lucy and one song to an ancient deity that is not the God of the Bible. But, you know, people are going to make up their own minds about what they think is good and bad. And when you're indoctrinated to believe that these things are terrible and they're satanic, even though they have nothing to do with Satan, that's all you're gonna see, is you're just gonna see, oh, this is what, you know, Satan does to trick people. He makes them think there's other gods, and he makes them think that it's okay to dabble in the supernatural or whatever. But it's just weird to me, because most Satanists and most atheists don't believe in the supernatural. I'm not saying everyone. I mean, I'm sure there are Satanists who actually believe Satan is real, but most of the Satanists I know are atheists who just like to troll Christians, and it obviously works. The trolling obviously works, because Christians hate anything to do with Satan. And they take it literally to the point where they have pastors up here who claim they were Satanists, but they don't even understand what like most Satanists are. So that's an interesting perspective. And I don't know. I've never like actually heard someone talk about being in a satanic cult, like a real one where they actually believed in Satan and like did sacrifices and stuff, because it was so overblown when I was a kid because of the whole satanic panic thing, that I don't know if most of it was just crazy exaggerations by Christians who are trying to keep their kids like sheltered from everything, or you know, if there are real Satanists, what they actually believe and why they actually believe in Satan and things. But I don't have any experience with people like that, so I can't, you know, say one way or the other what they believe or what they actually think. But the way that John talks, he talks like a Christian who, it's hard to explain, but he talks like a Christian who doesn't know what a Satanist is, which is interesting because, you know, to Christians, this is an amazing miracle. Like, God saved this man from the pits of hell, but to anybody outside of the church, you're going to look at that and go, something is wrong here. Something doesn't make sense. And I think that's why a lot of people in the community that I'm in have said, like, the stories this guy tells cannot be reality because he mixes so many different religions and ideas together that just don't normally go together. And they don't, like, you can't mesh those things together because, like, witchcraft and Satanism are two different things. So, but in the Christian church, they're not, because everything that comes with, like, this spiritual power, if it's not from God, then it's from Satan. Which is interesting. Like, how did Satan get the ability to have spiritual power? Like, if God cast him out of heaven, but then he gave him the same power that he has, there's no way you would be able to tell the difference if it was God or Satan. Which is a whole other problem with Christianity, but who knows? I don't know. So I don't know if we're going to finish this today, but we can at least watch it and see how far we can get.
Because you think God's a grace of credit card that you can pull it out and pay the bill, pay your sin. Oh, grace will cover me. Grace will cover me. Grace will cover me, because the devil has stolen your mind, your thoughts. And the devil understands now you're thinking, now you're not even thinking. You created a Jesus in your mind. There's not even a real Jesus in the Bible to satisfy, to indulge in your sin and your passion and your wickedness. And you created a Jesus that is not even the one in the Bible.
Oh, my ads. I need
You know, when you're born into Islam, that's your identity. It's who you are. I was born and raised in Amman, Jordan for 14 years. I grew up in...
Jesus is grace. Jesus is mercy. Yeah, he's mercy to the genuine Christian, not to the phony one.
Yeah, but how can you tell? You can't tell the difference. That's the problem. There can be genuine people in the church who actually believe that they are saved and that they're going to heaven. But according to, like, their own scripture, there are people who are going to claim that they are Christian. And I think there are people in the church who honestly believe that what they're following and what they're doing is 100% right. But if the God of the Bible really exists, I don't think there's any way for you to actually know, because the God of the Bible does not... He doesn't have a clear standard of what, you know, you're supposed to follow. And, oh, I don't know. That's a huge problem in Christianity, is just finding peace, because you can't find peace because you're constantly trying to get somewhere that doesn't exist. And people won't 100% believe that they're Christian, but the Christian sitting next to them might not think that because, they did something that they thought was a sin, and I don't know. There's no clear standard if you go by the New Testament, because it's because according to like evangelical Christianity, all it takes is like a prayer, and they say like God knows what's in your heart. But I think there are some people that really think that they are saved, and like it doesn't exist, and that makes it so hard, because even if they were supposedly saved, I don't think those people who claim they have like 100%, I don't think people don't have doubts, and I don't think people don't question sometimes, even if they're fully on board with it. I think there are a lot of things that are hidden in people that they don't say out loud. Yeah, I don't know. It's just kind of sad to me. Man, my computer's being slow today.
That's okay. I can do Joel Osteen if you want me to. I can preach you happy if you want. I can make you diabetic, spiritual diabetic. I can give you. See, I'm not afraid to speak truth. You know why? Because you know why I'm not afraid to speak truth? You know why I'm not afraid to speak truth? Because I'm not going to mess around with your eternity to make money. I'm not going to mess around with your eternity to make money. Either you run to the altar or you run out the building, but something's going to happen. I'm not going to mess around with your eternity, because you're not going to go to hell on my account. Not on my watch. So today, the church allowed the word to come into the church. We allow the word to come into the church today. I remember when Wilkerson used to preach, he preached stuff that would shake you to the core. I wanted that. I needed that. I want substance. I want truth. I want depths. I want deep's calls to deep. I don't want to be a surviving Christian. I could stay in the.
If you want substance and if you want substance and depth and truth, you're definitely in the wrong place. Because I don't think any churches teach any of those things. The substance that they teach is word salad. There is no substance. It's all just believe and receive.
I was dancing Ricky Martin. I was dancing Jennifer Lopez. I was dancing, Ricky Ricardo. I was in Cinco de Mayo. I was Mexican. I drank all the Coronas. Whatever thing. I was Dominican. I was Puerto Rican. I was Jamaican. When Jamaican Day came around, I was Jamaican. I danced reggae. I danced to the commercials. I was in every VIP list in all the clubs in New York City. Because I used to tell them, if you don't put me in your VIP list, I'll kill your mother. Witchcraft. Okay, we'll put you on. I will astral project and curse.
Pretty sure that if you did that, someone would call the cops on you. Like, that's not just something you say to people. If you threaten people, they can call the police on you. Especially if you threaten, like, family members. That is not okay. Johnny Depp. He needs to hang him on his wall. Right over his bed.
Your club, you'll be bankrupt after I'm done with your club. The 30 days, I shut down your club. If I was able to shut down churches, I'm able to shut down your club. Because the devil is going to favor me, not you. I was so connected with the devil. That one time they had a demonic meeting. I used to stay up all night long and talk to the devil face to face like I see you. All night long. When meanwhile, you can't do 2 hours.
I'm really worried about this guy. If this thing really did happen in his life, I feel like he needs to go see some type of therapist, because this seems like a mental issue. If all these things he's saying are true and happened, there's something else happening inside his brain that he needs some help. And if it's not something inside his brain and he's just lying, then that really sucks, because there are people who actually, you know, deal with things like that. They have hallucinations and stuff. And saying that you have them and you really don't, like, that's not just scary, like, that's horrible. That teaches people to not deal with their problems and to just rely on God. I believe he's nuts. Yeah, and it's scary to me that people, this is the problem with religion too, is that people that have like mental illnesses will not go get the help they need because they don't see, like, they live in a different reality than we do because of the mental illness. And then if you get them, you know, in religions like this and they have a mental illness, that just makes the problem even worse, because it will cause them to think that what they are seeing is real because they believe in these other realms and other places that supposedly exist, and they believe in creatures and, you know, things like demons and devils and stuff that don't actually exist, and it's all in your brain. But it's your brain messing with you, and that just makes it even more dangerous, because if those people don't get help, it can lead to not great things happening. And I have to wonder how many people in the church actually deal with, like, mental issues and they don't get help because they're just told that those are demons, or those are, you know, Satan or the spiritual realm just attacking you. But it's really your brain, and you need medication, or you need to be institutionalized or something, you know? Letting people who have hallucinations that can cause them to do things like that, even like him just saying, you know, threatening that guy, like, that is a huge problem, because if you're allowing things in your mind to tell you to do things like that, you need some help, because that could lead to you doing something that would hurt someone. And it's scary that we live in a world where people think, you know, things that don't exist do exist, and that they can tell you to do things that you don't want to do, but you do them anyway. And it's frightening, and you never know at what point those people will snap. And that's why I think we need better mental health care and less reliance on religion. But yeah, this guy is starting to scare me, because I don't know if what he believes is actually true in his mind, or if he's just making it all up, you know.
Our church. Pastor, you got the Bengay? You got the icy hot, the Bengay? Okay, we got it. When you can't do 2-hour church, I was doing devil all night long, from 7 in the morning to 5 in the morning, 7 in the evening to 5 in the morning. Praying, seeking strategies, methods to destroy, to conquer, to take away from the church. When the church was sleeping home, I was doing witchcraft. And when the church was at the mall on December, the witches was preparing for January. I'm gonna go take a picture of Santa Claus at the mall. We were preparing, we was ushering one principality out of one region to another to switch the game on you. In December, we didn't worry about shopping. We were doing recipes, and we were getting recipes from demons to take over territories. When the church was, what size he is? He's a large.
Demons have recipe books? That's a new one. Where can I find these demonic recipe books? Do they have fried chicken?
Large or is a medium? The biggest 2 months of witchcraft in the year is October and December. October because it's devil worshiping month, and December because you have to usher the principality that ran that region, you have to usher them out to bring a new one in. Whether it's a marine spirit, whether it's a principality running the second and first heaven, you have to make a pact. You have to make sacrifices and do things and sacrifices and cleansing and ceremony to usher, to bring in a new one, to release the old one, so you can have favor. So Christians came up to me and say, I'll take you.
So apparently there's some sort of like steps you have to take to bring in a new demon every time. It's like getting a substitute in your soccer game. Send out, Johnny the devil needs to go away so that Beelzebub the devil can go in and play in the soccer game.
You want spiritual warfare? I said, I eat your lunch. You're going to take me on a spiritual warfare? It's not because your God was weak. It's because the vessel was weak that was coming up against me. What you going to bring? Jesus loved me. I told you so. That ain't going to help you. I'm going to open up a can of whipping on you. So how is it that the church at large, we asleep? We allow the word to come into the church. We're not preaching. We have bent our knee to the systems of the world. We have been, you see the church in China, an amazing church in China, the underground church sold out for Jesus Christ. You see the church in North Korea sold out for Jesus Christ. You see the Nigerian church getting killed and burned to death and blowing up.
It's because a lot of those people live in poverty and they live in horrible conditions. And the church coming in and claiming that they're going to have this amazing eternal life, like, yeah, people who are in poverty or in, those vulnerable situations, if they're told they're going to have a better life if they believe in this God, people are going to cling on to that. That's a huge part of, the church preying on vulnerable people because they know those people don't have hope. Especially when you go to places like North Korea, where everything you do is monitored. Like, you don't have that choice to be free and have a good life. And if you're told by someone that there's this amazing place you can go to when you die, and you're gonna have all the food and everything you need and you're never gonna suffer again, and of course people who are vulnerable and who are suffering horribly on this planet are gonna try to find any hope they can, which is sad because it's a false hope that they give to people who are really suffering in the world and who really need that help. And so many people it's almost like they use Jesus as an excuse to not help people and just say, you know what, just follow him, and then when you die, you'll get this amazing eternity. But they don't focus on this life at all. They don't help those people get food. They don't help those people find a way out of poverty and find a way to have a better life. Because they don't think there's any reason to have a better life here, because this life is not the amazing life God wanted us to have. Like, God's going to give us the amazing life in heaven, so stop worrying about what you want here and just start worrying about heaven. And it's just this false hope that they give people that doesn't help them at all. And when people are killed for that false hope, they lose everything, because not only do they lose their lives, they lose the ability to have a better life because no one helped them have a better life. I can say it is like whoever came up with the idea of like religion, definitely, I don't know if it was someone who was a con person, but they definitely use it as a huge con today, and people who don't want to believe that this is the only life they get, and they don't want to believe that, you know, the suffering and everything they go through here doesn't have some sort of meaning for something else. It just sucks because those people are they're being used by a system, and it really sucks. And I know, like, when I was in the church, they were always talking about, you know, these people in the Middle East and stuff who would give up their lives, like they were martyrs for the faith. And I always thought, yeah, that's amazing. Like, those people believe so much that they died for Jesus and now they're in heaven. But once I left Christianity and I realized this is all just, they're selling you something that doesn't exist. And the people who buy into it lose a lot more, because the people who are suffering on this planet and they are fighting for their lives and they're trying their best to do what they think God wants them to do, and then they get killed for their faith, like, it's so sad and it's horrible. And just the way they talk about it in church, how it's like this awesome thing. But if this is the only life you get, like, all those people lost their lives, their families lost, you know, their loved ones, and they're not gonna see them again, and it's just not worth it, in my opinion. And it sucks too, because I'm not gonna tell you, like, the details of the story, but there was a story that they told us in church that really made me upset, because the parents were told that they basically had to renounce, like, the Abrahamic God, or the people who told them to renounce were gonna kill their kids, and these people did not renounce. And that makes me even more angry, because not only did those people, like, they didn't sacrifice their own lives for it, they sacrificed their kids' lives for this supposed God who loves them. And stories like that in church just make me so upset, because like, you're sacrificing things on this earth that you're not gonna get back. And it's one thing to sacrifice your own life, but to allow, you know, your kids or whatever, like, as a parent, I would do anything I could to protect my children. And no deity or God should ever come before my kids. And if they do, then there's a major problem. And that should never happen. So, sorry, I'm getting, like, real serious today. But this guy kind of jumped off the deep end today with all his preaching. Because I feel like he didn't jump as far yesterday as he did today, where he's getting into all, like, the demonic stuff and all these things that he thinks he saw and believed. But I really just don't like people preying on vulnerable people, and religion definitely does that in a way that's not healthy, and it's not safe for people.
Sold out for Jesus Christ. Got news for you. That stuff is coming this way. Believe me, we're going to be challenged too. So don't drink the Kool-Aid. You be rich, I'll be rich. The garbage they feed you on TV. I'm prepared for the battle. I'm prepared for the fight.
Hey, he stole Holy Kool-Aid's saying. Don't drink the Kool-Aid.
I'm going to bring it to the devil. I'm going to bring it to the devil. John Ramirez, a spiritual sniper for Jesus Christ. I'm a spiritual sniper for Jesus Christ. I am special ops. That's right. You bring the witch, I bring my arsenal. You bring your witchcraft, I bring my arsenals. Trust me. I was in the Caribbean. I was in St. Croix in the Caribbean, and I was doing an altar call, and the altar was packed, and I'm in the Caribbean, and then beautiful St. Croix. I was there, and the witch came up from St. Croix. They're the biggest witch in the town. He came up to the meeting. He came up face to face, right in front of me, like right here in the meeting. I was right here. He came up right there. You know, big, tall, black guy. He came up to me. He pointed finger in his face. He said, "I'm the witch from St. Croix. I came to destroy you." Dude, I'm the church of Jesus Christ. You sure? Hey, are you sure? You ain't moving me. You're not gonna because it's.
I don't understand the whole idea that like there's this all-powerful God, but then there's like God gave Satan powers that apparently are more powerful than him. It just doesn't make any sense. Oh no, not Pure Flix.
You see what he did that for shock effects because he understood that if he can get into my mind, whoever takes the territory first. This is about territory. With the territory in your mind, geographic territory, spiritual territory. The enemy knows to move you. He has to plant something in you to bring doubt. So the witch came up to me, tried to bring doubt and fear. He said, "I got you." He said, "I got to destroy you. This is my town. This is my territory." I said, "Not no more. Not no more." And then I said to the witch, "Did you bring?" See, I don't talk like a.
I feel like, even if this is true, like, why would witches go to a church? I feel like a lot of people who are, like, into witchcraft, they don't believe in, you know, their God, so what's the point of that? I guess if he says, like, it's because they were trying to destroy the church or whatever, but what? Like, I think a lot of people who do, like, witchcraft they have nothing to do with Christianity. It just doesn't make it. That's the whole thing about this, is that people will mix so many different things, like religions and ideas, up because they don't actually know what they're talking about. And that's why I think, I don't know if this guy actually went through these things or if he's just making this up, because so many of the things that he is saying don't make sense and they don't line up. Like, witches don't have witchcraft churches, and they don't worship Satan, and they don't, go after churches. This is a very prevalent idea that is created within the church, but people in the church don't actually know what people who do witchcraft do, and they don't actually know that a lot of them don't believe in God, and they don't believe in Satan. Like, when you sit there and you claim these things, but your story doesn't match up with what reality says, that's a huge issue. And I know he can get up there and say this to Christians, because a lot of Christians, I'm not saying all Christians, but a lot of Christians are very ignorant about, any belief that is not their own. So he can get up there and say whatever he wants, and people will eat it up because they've been taught that witchcraft is from Satan, and that, these people who practice witchcraft, like, do sacrifices and blood rituals and all that stuff, even though they do the same thing in the church with Jesus, but that's different because it wasn't from Satan, it was from their God. But at the same time, it's frustrating when you know that a lot of these ideas don't mix, and a lot of these ideas are not how reality works, and that's not how witches actually practice their, spells and things, and they don't believe in Satan. And I think it's hard to, like, get Christians to understand that people who are not in the church don't believe in Satan, because they think it's so real, and they think that God and Satan are so prevalent in the world, and that, you know, everyone can see it. They just can't grasp the fact that people don't believe these things exist, because they've been raised to believe they do exist. So when they get into those positions, they're like, oh, like, I don't know what to do, because these people don't believe what I believe exists. But at the same time, it's like, there's going to be people with different opinions and different ideas of what things are. And if someone comes to your, like, if you're a Christian and someone comes to your church and they're talking about, you know, Satanists, or they're talking about witchcraft, and you don't know anything about it, you shouldn't just be sitting there clapping and being, you know, excited about it or whatever. And I know a lot of these people, they just go to amp up themselves and give themselves comfort in the fact that they are the one true church. But at the same time, if someone comes to your church and starts telling you things like this, you should be one of those Christians that goes out and actually researches it and makes sure that what he's saying is true, and that, you know, what do Satanists actually believe? What do people who practice witchcraft actually believe? What do, I don't know, just, I think education is a big step towards figuring out what truth actually is. And I know they're very against that in the church, and they're very against critical thinking, because, you know, thinking is what leads you away from God, because you're using your own mind instead of listening to God's word and doing what they want you to do. But I think anyone who claims, like I said in the past, anyone who claims to have truth, if they come into your church and they claim to have truth, but then they're saying things like this that don't make sense, and they don't align, and they don't work together, then you have to question that authority figure and question whether or not what they're saying does line up with reality. And if it doesn't, then, you know, you need to dig deeper into that and, you know, find out what people actually believe. Because if someone comes to your church and says these things and you just believe them, you're never going to find the truth. And even if you know, say, well, everything he said that he went through is true, like, there are some major problems within this story that anyone outside the church can look at this and go, oh no, either he doesn't know what he's talking about, or he's just making things up, because this is not how any of these things work together, and this is not how people believe in certain things, and this is not how people practice certain things. So, and this is how so many people get stuck in this religious ideas, because they're so stuck in their ways, and they've been taught, like, anything outside of their religion is satanic. Then preachers can get up like he did and say, yeah, satanic witchcraft, satanic blah blah blah, like, people believe in Satan, they follow Satan, they worship Satan, even though it's not true. And even though most of those people don't believe in Satan, and most of those people, if you really did have, you know, a witch or someone in your church, I would think that eventually someone's gonna call you out and be like, this is not how these things actually work. But again, that's the great thing about the church, is that he knows he can go into a church and say whatever he wants, because people in the church will listen to him. And because he has figured out that they'll listen to him and that they'll believe anything he says, it doesn't matter what he says. Because at the end of the day, these people are going to agree with him, because they already believe that their religion is the true religion. And whatever he says is true, because he came from, you know, satanic roots. But people like this, I always want to, like, look up and see if I can find, like, their actual backstories. Because sometimes I feel like if we knew people's real backstories and, like, where they actually came from and how things in their life actually worked growing up, we can kind of see what's actually happening in their minds and what's actually happening in their lives, as opposed to, you know, him coming into a church and just saying whatever he wants. Sorry to turn my watch off. But yeah, people in the church won't question this guy, and they won't look at his backstory, and they won't. I mean, we're not able to always look into people's backstories in depth. And, you know, we live in a world where we can dive deep into things. But even if we don't look at his backstory, we can look at the information we have from what he's telling us and see if those things are accurate. And even just him saying, like, satanic witchcraft. Like, that's just, it's so inaccurate in what witchcraft is and what Satanism is. It just blows my mind that so many people can cling on to these ideas. But I get it, like, they want to cling on to things that make them feel like they are in the correct religion and that what they're doing is correct. Even if they don't have any other evidence but anecdotal evidence from someone. And even if it's bad evidence, they'd rather cling on to bad evidence than no evidence at all.
Christian, I don't have a PhD. And then wrong with a PhD, if you get one, more power to you. I think you should get one if God put that in your heart. Ain't nothing wrong with education. I pushed my daughter to the limit. She got a bachelor's degree in psychology. I pushed her to the limit. She tried to use that stuff on me. I said, I got the Holy Spirit, baby. That stuff, don't worry. I got Holy Spirit.
His daughter's a psychologist? Oh, man. I have to wonder if she's, if that's changed any of her beliefs and changed any of, you know, what her dad told her growing up, if he told her these things.
Spirit, baby. Before you make the move, I already know what you're going to come. I got discernment. Even the church has lost its discernment. Because you see, if you can discern, you can tell the difference between the wolf and the sheep. You can tell the difference between the wolf and the sheep with discernment, because the wolf, even though dressed like sheep clothing, you can identify the footprint. You know what I mean? You can identify the footprint because you can't change the footprints on the wolf. I don't care how you dress them up. Discernment. Discernment, you can see the devil from around the...
I mean, what if the wolf wears shoes that look like sheep feet? I'm just saying, like, there's always ways to, like, change things and make things seem like they're not.
Block. Discernment. I pray for the keys of the kingdom. Lord, increase my faith, increase my discernment. Lord, smash my unbelief. The keys of the kingdom, the currency of the kingdom is faith. Lord, increase my faith. I put my faith to exercise, Lord. Lord, increase my discernment. Increase my increase word of knowledge in my life. I don't let people prophesy to me. When you come prophesy to me, I don't receive it. I take it to God first. Let him check it out. I don't know if you're an undercover witch and you're coming to prophesy to me and you're going to plant your garbage in good ground. You prophesy, oh, I got a prophecy. You say it, baby, but I ain't gonna take it. I'm gonna bring it to the altar and check it out. Find out if it's real. Because if it ain't real, Holy Spirit gonna burn it. Burn it to the ground. Baby, you ain't putting that stuff on me. You crazy? I did 25 years of witchcraft. There's more Christian witchcraft in the church than in the world. Because we're in love with the gift, but we're not in love with the gift giver.
Once again, story doesn't check out. He claims he was, unless I misheard him yesterday, I thought he said he became a Christian when he was 19. But if you're doing 25 years of witchcraft, and you didn't start witchcraft church until you were 8. Oh my goodness. See, this is the problem. People aren't listening to the whole backstory and seeing the inconsistencies here and seeing how I just don't even know. Like, there's just so many inconsistencies that don't make sense. And maybe that's the point. Like, it doesn't matter that there's inconsistencies, because regardless of the inconsistencies, people are going to believe this man. Because he's a man of God and he's an authority figure. And in the church, you don't question authority figures. You just believe what they say. Which is, ugh. It's just a whole realm of, well, and that's why we get a lot of abuse in the church, because this whole idea that you don't question authority and you do what they say causes people to be abused and to be used and to be put in situations that they otherwise would not want to be put into, but because they've been told their whole lives that this person is an authority figure because they follow the same God that you do, and, you know, because they're a pastor or an elder or whatever, they have, like, this direct line to God, so you have to believe what they say. And it just causes so many issues within the church.
We're in love with the gifts. We can't tell who's running the gifts because we have no discernment. The witch shows up and tell you, I got a word from God. I know your social security number. And you're already falling in. Oh. They're melting in your pants because he got your social security number. God don't need your social security number. He ain't going to put you on his taxes. How foolish are we? How foolish are we to buy into this? You better come with the real deal, because I'm not drinking the Kool-Aid. I've been there, done that, and I got the t-shirt. I know witchcraft from a mile away, whether you dress up with Christian clothes or you dress it up like I was telling Pastor. When the devil comes as an angel of light, the reason when the devil comes as an angel of light, the reason he stays at a distance, he never come up close, because he shines from a distance as an angel of light. And when he shines at a distance from an angel of light, I was telling Pastor, he's like a Monet. If you know art, if you go to I love art. I love art, I love Picasso, I love Monet, I love...
He's an angel of light. It's like that video we watched the other day where it was talking about Lucifer and Jesus as the same person because they were both of light and they were both the morning star. That is one thing when we went to, when I went on my Mormon mission trip to save Mormons, oh, what was I gonna say? Now I've lost my train of thought. It was interesting because they were always talking. So when we went down there, the guy who like runs the ministry down there is an ex-Mormon, but he became a Christian, and so his whole like idea in life was to save as many Mormons as he could from Mormonism and bring them back to the real Christian church, I guess. And it's funny because when we were talking to him, he was always talking about how, you know, Satan is an angel of light, and that's why a lot of people follow the Mormon church, is because they make themselves out to be like this amazing, loving place that people can come and feel safe, and they're all about family, and that was a huge thing in Mormonism I saw with my Mormon friends, is like, you know, Sundays was their family day where they went to church and then they spent time as a family, like playing games or whatever. And I mean, that's all good and well, but the problem is you only see like the pretty stuff on the outside, the shiny stuff. You don't see all of the horrible things they do behind the scenes. And there's a lot of stuff I didn't realize that the Mormon church did until, I mean, even when I read about it from like the Christian point of view, when I started hearing about people who had come out of the Mormon church and some of the things that they talked about and that they did in the church, there was a lot of abuse that went on behind the scenes and a lot of things that were not pretty. And I think it's the same. I mean, it's the same with, regular churches. They do the same thing. Like, they will hide any problems that they have, and they'll make certain things in their church try to, like, go away instead of dealing with the issues. And that's a huge problem in itself, because I've been to churches where people try to hide things, even things that shouldn't have been hidden, but they will do that because they try to protect their own people, and it's not okay, because the abuse and the things they try to cover up is not okay, and it causes more problems in the future for people, and it makes people distrust other people in their lives because they're so, I don't know. Yeah, Mormonism is very much, well, yeah, because they talk about, when you go and talk to a Mormon, they're always talking about, you will feel that burning in your bosom. Like, it is all about feelings. It's about feeling that what you are reading in their scriptures and what you are feeling about them is true, as opposed to actually digging into them and finding out if what they're saying is true or not. And that's a huge tactic in most churches, because they'll manipulate you into thinking that the feelings that you're feeling is something other than just your own feelings. I think even in the Christian church they do that, where it's like a lot of that is, when you're singing to God and you have that intense feeling of being in God's presence and feeling the Holy Spirit on you, they make you think that that's a real thing, and people believe that. They buy into it, and they think, yeah, this is real. I feel this. I feel this energy coming to me. I feel, God's presence all around me. But if you know anything about the brain, it's a manipulation tactic. They purposely do that so that you feel like you are having this amazing experience with God. But science has shown us that, you can do that with anything. You can do the same thing with secular music. I mean, you can sit there and worship whatever to secular music, and you can also feel that feeling that they claim is the Holy Spirit or, God's presence on you. And it's a huge manipulation tactic. And they know how to do it in church, and it's so hard because a lot of people don't realize that they have been conditioned to do that, and they don't realize that conditioning is manipulation because they've been raised in it. I mean, if you've been raised in it and you feel these feelings with certain music, and you feel these feelings with certain, things that are said, and you feel these feelings when you're praying, of course you're going to think that's something else when you're told it's something else. But that's not what that is. It's your brain. It's, the feelings in your brain, they're gonna be the same for certain things. I'm not great at explaining this, but, Genetically Modified Skeptic has a really good, video on, like, how they use worship music to, like, manipulate people into thinking that what they're feeling is God, and how, they use certain octaves and certain even like rhythms and stuff during certain times to make you feel those feelings. But the problem is, those feelings you're feeling are just that. They're the feelings inside of you because you've been conditioned to feel that, and you've been conditioned to think that that is something other than, yourself when it's really just yourself. And people, even if they're not doing it on purpose, they've been conditioned to know how to manipulate you into feeling those things. And I mean, in the church, there's probably a lot of people that don't realize that. They don't realize that what they are doing by, you know, playing that song on the piano or singing those certain notes or, you know, any of those things they use in the church, they're just used to that because they were raised that way. And they were told this is how, you know, this is how church goes. You do this, you do this, you do this, you do this. And they don't realize that, you know, the people up there who are doing that don't realize they're manipulating people, and the people in the audience don't realize they're being manipulated. So, and I think it's the same with the Mormon church, where they, you know, they don't say, hey, go critically think about this. Go look up, you know, why our religion is true. Go look up, you know, the science and the archaeology and, you know, all the things that are true in our book. They give you a Book of Mormon and they say, you know, read this, and if you feel a burning in your bosom, then you know it's true. And that's just another manipulation tactic in order to get people within the church. Because if you don't tell them to actually critically think about it and actually look at it and make sure that what they're being told is true, and you tell them just to follow their feelings, but you tell them that their feelings is something other than themselves, it's a manipulation and a conditioning tactic. And it works on a lot of people because I think a lot of people go through vulnerable times in their life and they need something more, and the church knows that and they grab onto that. And not just Christian churches. Like, I feel like I'm not all religions either, because I know not all religions are like, you have to follow us or you're going to hell, but I feel like a lot of mainstream religions, that is a huge part of that, is they know these manipulation tactics to get people in, and they use those tactics when people are most vulnerable to bring them into the community. And when people feel like they're loved and they feel like they are accepted and they feel like they're, you know, safe in this community, then there's no reason for them to not believe, and there's no reason for them to leave, because, you know, these are my people. They believe the same thing I do. They brought me here. They helped me understand who God is, and they helped me, you know, you live life together, literally. That is, like, what church is. It's a bunch of people living life together for this one purpose. And even though that purpose might not be true or real or whatever, it gives people purpose who might not have purpose. And I guess that's a huge part of just religion, is that feeling. And, you know, like Omega said, yeah, with Mormons, it's very much about feeling. And I feel like for Christians, it is a lot about feelings, but they don't emphasize that as much. Like, they don't come up to you like Mormons say, oh, you're going to feel burning in your bosom. But at the same time, they will tell you, like, oh, that feeling you're feeling when you're worshiping, that's the Holy Spirit. That is very much about feelings, because it's feeling God. It's feeling that presence. It's feeling that peace that supposedly only God can give you. Even though we know that that's not what's actually happening. That it's our brains. And it's how we're feeling because we've been manipulated to feel that way. And we've been told that that manipulation is something other than what is actually happening.
Jackson Pollock. I love Rembrandt. I love all these paintings, man. I'm like this Puerto Rican, but I got like a white person in me, you know. I love art, man. I can tell you stuff about art, man. It'll blow your mind, right? I mean, I can tell you stuff about artwork. I did artwork for 3 years. I carry paintings, you know, Rembrandts, Monets, Jackson Pollocks. I carry Picassos. I carry paintings from I mean, I can name names after name, but what I'm saying is a Monet is a painting that from far looks like a masterpiece, but from close it looks like a mess. And the devil from far, he looks like an angel of light, but when he come up close, you can see his filthy garment because they fell out of heaven. I leave you with this, man. Today, the church has been called to bring the gospel to the world. The church has been called to win souls. The church has been called to baptize. That's what's amazing in this church, the baptism, the people that are coming, the people that are being transformed. Christ is in the business of transforming people. That's the reason I'm holding this mic today. Understand? Christ is in the business of transforming people. Because God gives glory when he can take a great mess and turn it into a great masterpiece. And today, we have bowed our knee to the world. Today, we can't preach the truth because it's hate. We can't preach the truth because it's hate. We can't preach because it is judgment. You're judging me, Pastor. Why are you preaching that?
Yeah, it is hate, and it's backwards thinking. It's thinking in a time where people were barbaric to each other. It's thinking about a time when people didn't respect other people and they didn't see other people as people if they weren't part of their tribes. That's the biggest thing about the Bible, is that people don't look at that and, well, I guess they kind of do, because Christianity is still very barbaric and still very, like, us versus them. And that's because that's how the Bible is. Like, God chose one set of people to be his people, and everyone else was wrong, and those people had to die, and they had to be taken out because you should only follow this God. And it's horrible because people lost their lives over things, you know, over these religions and over these ideas, and they lost their ability to have a life, or they lost their ability to, you know, be the person they wanted to be. And today, we're given that chance because people are seeing how dangerous those ideas are and how it's not okay to tell someone they can't live the life they want. It's not okay to hate on someone simply because a book says to hate them, or because, you know, the God that you claim to serve hates these things. It's just an excuse to allow hatred to continue in the world. And people aren't dealing with that anymore. A lot of people are sick of it. They're tired of it. They're tired of the constant need to hurt other people for no reason other than, well, I want to go to heaven, so I'm going to hurt as many people as I can because, you know, God hates those people, so I have to hate them too. And people are finally realizing that it's not worth their time or their money or their energy to do that anymore. People should come first. People should be loved and respected and shown that they matter regardless of status and regardless of how much money they have, or regardless if they go to a certain church or believe a certain thing. People are slowly starting to realize that there's more bad than good in religion. And yeah, the truth sucks. And yeah, the truth hurts. But Christianity's truth hurts a lot more people than, you know, the world's truth. Because most people who live in the world see other people as people. Most people who live in the world respect other people because they are people. Most people who live in the world want to help other people and want to not hate on other people just because they're different. There's no reason for anyone to hate anyone. And there's no reason for anyone to cause trouble just because their God says that this person shouldn't exist. It's very backwards thinking, and it's very bad for society, and it's not going to help society progress. And unfortunately, those people who still have hate in their hearts and are still trying to hold on to this backwards idea that you have to follow my God or you're wrong. I'm hearing the word people a lot in this rant. Yes. Yeah, because it's most evangelical Christianity today, a lot of it is hate. It's just hating anything they don't understand, hating anything they don't want in their church, or hating anything they don't want to deal with. And I guess for me, coming out of the church and not being a Christian anymore has shown me that hating people and judging people is not okay. And clinging onto a book that says that you need to do that makes it worse. And yeah, there are a lot of people in my rant, because in all the years I was in the church, I was told to hate certain people, and I was told to judge certain people because they didn't conform to what the Bible said that they should be. And now that I'm outside the church, I realize that that's not okay, and that you should just let people live their lives. Conform. Yeah. It's damaging in so many ways. And I'm glad people are waking up and realizing that it's not okay to judge and it's not okay to hate. But we still have a lot of churches like this that preach this, and that's frustrating too, because, you know, most of the people in those seats probably totally agree with this guy and totally think it's okay to hate people, and it's okay to, like, not let people have basic human rights. And for me, that's not okay. Like, this is why I am here on this platform, because I'm tired of people taking advantage of other people simply because of a religion or simply because of a belief that doesn't have anything to back it up. Like, humanity should be your first priority as a human. I put the first section up on YouTube. This is part 2 today, so I might try to put the second part up. It just takes so long, because it took like 2 hours to upload onto YouTube. But I have other stuff on YouTube if you want to go check that out. Yeah. But yeah, I did post yesterday's, we did the first half of this, so I did post that on there if you want to go see the first part. And then I will try later today to post the second part here onto YouTube, but I'm just streaming it on Twitch because I've had problems in the past with YouTube when I do live streams and using other people's videos, so, which is weird, because if I do it live, like, they'll give me warnings, but then if I just upload it, they won't, so it's real confusing. So, I don't know. Oh yeah, you were there. Yeah, I don't understand how they do things over there, so I just find it easier to just live stream on Twitch and then upload it later. Because, you know, like people said, I think a lot of YouTube stuff is like just auto stuff where it's all just on computers and it's not a real human being, so that makes it a little bit harder to live stream.
You let the pastor judge you instead of God judging you later. Let the word check you. Let the word examine you. before it's too late later. Because right now people saying, oh, you preaching hate, you preaching gloom and doom. You hurting my ears, Pastor. That's right.
Am I on the Atheist link tree? I am. Yeah, they added me to that like a month ago, I think. So yes, I am on the link tree. I was super excited when they added me because I was like, yes! Yeah, I am. That made me happy. Little, you know what? Baby steps. Baby steps is a big part of, it's official, yes. Is a big part of being a streamer, I guess. It is though, because you think about it. If you're not a streamer, let me just say, when you get like 100 subscribers on YouTube, or even just, you know, 1 subscriber, it doesn't seem like that much, but it's so exciting when you make stuff and people actually appreciate it and want to actually come back and see those things. So I think that's a big part of just being a streamer, is just those little milestones. They give you joy that you cannot explain. That, you know, the things that I do in life, in, you know, this realm, whoa, didn't mean to hit my mic, actually, you know, are reaching other people and helping other people. And, you know, I even remember when I got my first, like, DM from someone that was like, oh yeah, your videos helped me, like, look into my church and stuff, and now I'm not a Christian anymore. And that's so weird when my whole life I spent, like, trying to get people in the church, and now I'm doing the opposite. But it gives me just joy to know that people are being free from those things and being able to use the things I create to help them. And even just talking to people, that is something that I think a lot of streamers don't, like, tell people about, is that you will talk to a lot more people, and you will have a lot more people come to you and talk about, you know, their beliefs and why they believe what they believe. And you can have honest conversations with people, like, when you're not streaming. And that's not something I even thought about when I became a streamer and started doing, like, my YouTube stuff, because it was like, oh, I just want to help people, you know, like me, who came out of the church, and help them see that they're not alone, and that there are others like them out there, and that it's okay. Like, there are other communities you can be a part of. But yeah, there's so much more that goes into it that people don't realize. And those little milestones and those little, even just having chats with people, it really, I don't know, expands your world and helps you see things in a different light, I guess. But yeah, I love doing all of this, you know, talking to people, talking on here, watching different videos, looking into different, like, religious things. I just kind of mix everything that I like to do with my creative side, and it seems to be going real well, and I really enjoy it. So, but yeah, just celebrating each little milestone, I think. You're the best. I'm glad. All right, we'll get back to the video. I don't have to keep going on about my stuff.
Sorry, Hillsong don't work. That's all right. You know, it don't work. You know why it don't work? Because they're preaching a soft, a candy cane gospel. They take all these young people in New York City full with the Hillsong people. And the situation is...
Isn't, like, Hillsong huge? I feel like they have a lot more people in their... I don't know, maybe because they're just more of the hip, popular Christian church that they're just talked about more. But I feel like they have a way bigger following than, you know, fundamentalist Christianity did. Is this a mega church? I have no idea if this is a mega church. I don't even know where he's preaching. I just was The Way World Outreach. Yeah, I don't know if that's the church he's preaching at or if that's just like his YouTube channel.
There's no transformation. You see the young people on the screen, you can see it in their face. Transformed, sold out for Jesus Christ. It's not a show. It's an event of an encounter with the living God. That's why you see the people up there. They're not giving you a show. They're not trying to convince you. If you can see in the spirit realm, when they're up there and you saw the commercial, I said, that brother been touched. That sister been touched. So today we like, don't judge me. Well, gee, don't judge me. Today, we blame God for everything, and no one's blaming the devil for anything. We come into a place.
I mean, what did he ever do to you? Honestly, from what he's saying, if he has all this power from him and he has all these abilities, why in the world would you go over to the other side? I mean, if I had magic powers and I was able to do things, why would I go to someone who doesn't have those powers or who claims to have those powers but shows absolutely no evidence of that, you know? That's one thing I don't understand either, is that he says he had all these abilities and then those abilities like disappeared when he became a Christian, or did those abilities like get better? Like, if magic was real, I feel like a lot more people would cling to that than cling to a God who doesn't show any evidence that he exists.
The time is running out. Time is running out. Time is running out. And I don't want to miss the JC train. I want all. I want the crumbs of the master's table. I don't live in patterns and cycles of the devil. I live free. I don't owe the devil nothing. I owe Jesus everything. Even when the Witchcraft and Crow showed up, see,
freedom is a fragile thing, and it's never more than one generation away from extinction.
Ads. And they're all Pure Flix ads. I guess that makes sense because we're all.
I don't speak like a Christian. I'm off the boat. I'm a radical Christian. I'm off the boat. I don't live in the conservative side. I live in the wild side for Jesus. So when the witch showed up and pointed his finger in my face and he said, I came to destroy you, I understood that he was talking about territory. So I said to him, what you say? And he said, I came to destroy you. I said, say that again? See, I already knew I had him off balance. So when he came, he said, I came to destroy you. I said, let me ask you a question. And he said, what do you want to ask me? He was getting heated because I wasn't playing into his game. I was drawing him over to my side. So I said to him, do you bring all your weapons with you, all your spiritual arsenal with you? He said, what do you mean? I said, I got you now because you lost your step. See? And then I said to him, I'm here for 3 days. You can come back later if you don't have everything you got. I said, you can come back later if you don't have everything you got. He said, what are you talking about? I got everything. I said, did you got this, this, and this, and that? I said, because I'm here for 3 days. Because I said, I want, and then
this guy sounds like a mob boss. Like, I've got this amazing power and I'm going to take you out. Like, okay. Or he's got some, like, anger issues or something. There's something wrong. I just don't understand some of the things he says. Okay, so this guy claims... So if you didn't see earlier, Color Me a Satanist, he claims that he's a satanic... He grew up in a satanic witchcraft family, which really confused me because a lot of people I've talked to that I know that are witches, and a lot of people I've talked to that are Satanists don't believe the same things, and they definitely don't believe, most Satanists I know don't believe in Satan. So I was saying, like, I don't know where he's getting his information, because if he claims that he was raised as a satanic witch, he's got a lot of weird things happening. Oh no, my stream is skipping. That's not good. Why is it skipping? It hates me. It says it's reconnecting. Let me check. Let me check my internet. Says it's fine. It says your stream quality is good. So, yeah, it says I'm doing fine on this side. I don't know. Hopefully it's not skipping for anyone else. Okay. Yeah, I was gonna say, mine's coming in through fine.
And he said, what do you mean? I said, because in 30 seconds, I'm going to open up a can of whipping on you. I told him. And I want it to be I don't want you to think it was a fair fight. So I want you to go get your stuff and get all your arsenals. And whatever principality, whatever principal is running your region, make contact with him, because you're going to need it. And he said, you don't speak like a Christian. That's all. At this moment, it's spiritual warfare. There's no rules. There's no rules, baby. There's no rules. That means I have legal rights to open up a can of whipping on you like you never seen that in your lifetime. So you ready? He said, I'm ready. I put my hand to 5-4 ministry. I hit him right here. That brother dropped. He dropped on the floor, and he started turning to a snake. He started to swerve like a snake, and he was fumbling his mouth. His eyes went back. And all you saw was the white of his eye. That's okay, I'll talk to you later. I pray for a whole bunch of Christians. And Christians say, oh my God, he's gonna die. Are you gonna pray for him? I said, not now. Not now. 40 minutes, I pray for all the believers. And then I came back.
This sounds ridiculously made up. Because even as a Pentecostal growing up, I never saw anything like that. I saw people, like, slain in the spirit and, like, people falling down when they're being prayed for because they're filled with the spirit, but I have never seen anyone act like a snake. Like, this seems like, I don't know. This is the weirdest sermon I've ever heard in my life. And I grew up Pentecostal, where we actually believed in, like, demons and, you know, things like that. My brain just can't even, it can't even wrap around the fact that some of the things that this guy is saying. And, you know, these are grown adults in the audience that are 100% believing all of this.
Tell him, did you give up? Did you give up? I said, I'll be back. Because you see, I am the church of Jesus Christ. Wherever I go, I'm the church of Jesus Christ. No weapon form against me or you will never, ever, ever prosper. I don't care what you bring, devil. I don't care what you say. I don't care what you got. But it's not what you throw at me. It's not what you throw at me. It's what I do about it. It's what I do about it. That's right. You don't.
This is very much, you know, like we were talking about earlier, Omega, about, you know, Mormons feeling. This is very much those manipulation tactics where you get people riled up and you get them to feeling like what you're saying actually means something, when all he's actually saying is like gibberish and it doesn't make any sense and it doesn't actually mean anything. This scares me. Oh yeah, it scares me that there are people in this world who believe these kind of things. and what they will do to act on those things. I mean, this guy obviously has some issues because he has talked about hurting people in the past, and he's talked about threatening people and things like that. And if this guy really has some mental issues where he's seeing things and hearing things and believing that things that don't exist actually exist, like I said, is there going to come a point in this guy's life where he just snaps? Because I don't know. I would hope not. But there's obviously some deep down issues that need to be dealt with there. And if they're not dealt with, I don't know what's going to happen. So yes, I totally understand. Yes, this definitely scares me too.
I don't want none of this. See, because if I've been with Jesus, who are you? I've seen too much in God to doubt and fear. We need to come to a place, are you sold out? Are you sold out? Are you sold out? I leave you with this message. Holy Spirit, tell me in the hotel, there's people here tonight. And this is for people that are unbelievers, people that are worshiping other gods. And God loves you too much to let you go. God loves you too much. I always tell people, if you're serving something else or you're believing in something else, try Jesus for 30 days. Do the Pepsi challenge. If you're chasing the question mark, you might as well chase the answer. His name is Jesus.
So how do you explain all those people that left the church? Oh, they just wanted to sin. Oh, they just wanted to follow other gods. They just wanted to do whatever they wanted. Not, we literally tried Jesus for, 27, 28 years of our lives. Didn't lead us anywhere we wanted to be. And now we're atheists out here who are speaking out against it because we know fake it till you make it. Exactly. Honestly, I think fake it till you make it is pretty much, for me, I feel like a lot of people in the church are doing that because never in my life have I seen any evidence that these things that people claim happened. I've seen no evidence of, all these testimonies and things that people claim. It just doesn't link to a God in my mind. And for me, I grew up in this idea that there was this spiritual realm and there were these supernatural things, but never in my life have I ever seen anything that would show me that the supernatural or things like that actually exist. And now knowing what I know about the Bible and knowing how it's not true and knowing how a lot of the things in it were written by people who just didn't understand, like, the human mind and didn't understand, modern medicine and how things affect us, definitely has changed my mind on a lot of the beliefs that I once held. But that's okay. It's okay to grow. It's okay to change. It's okay to be a different person. But it's not okay to just believe in something because you want to believe in it. Like, you need to have evidence to back that up. And for me, there's no evidence of a supernatural. There's no evidence that these things actually exist. And I think for me, even if I had some supernatural thing happen to me in the future, I would definitely go through, different scenarios in my brain that could have happened before I went straight to the supernatural or to a god or to whatever else people want to claim is out there. But I changed my mind, so. But I guess it can go the same way with him, where, he can change his mind from being a witch to being a Christian. But I don't think 30 days, well, I'm not saying not everyone, but I don't think 30 days of Jesus is going to help people who have, deep issues that really need to be dealt with and mental issues that need to be dealt with. Because even if he is a Christian, there's still some major issues in his life that need to be addressed, and they're not being addressed. And you can tell just by the way he's talking in this sermon, where he very much, like, even though he might not, like, straight up say he's threatening people, he's definitely has, like, this whole, like, I'm a macho man who needs to threaten people to get what I want. And he just uses, instead of using his witchcraft or whatever from the past, he's just using God now to do it. But at the same time, he's making himself out to be, I don't know, this larger-than-life character that God is using. Even if none of this is true, that's the persona that he's giving off.
His name is Jesus. My question to you tonight, God wants to touch you. You know, I was in Queens like 3 years ago, and I was preaching the gospel in Queens. And I want you to hear me. I just don't clap. I just want you to hear this. I was preaching the gospel in Queens, and the lady came up to the altar, and she said, I got 4-stage cancer. And she said, I'm going to die. The doctor said, go home and make peace with your family and spend whatever time you got left with your family. And I'm going to die, she said. And I said, okay. And I looked at her deep in her eyes.
Do not touch.
And I know she wasn't saved. I know she wasn't saved. See, that's why discernment is so valuable in the kingdom. I could discern that she wasn't saved. And I asked her, who you serve? She said, I'm a Muslim. She said, I'm a Muslim. I said, what did your God done for you lately? And she said, nothing. I'm going to die. I said, but you know what? You see, I got childlike faith. I seen too much in God to doubt. I've been blind in 1997, completely blind. One thing is to be born blind. One thing is to become blind. In 2002, I was blind for 3 months. And you know what's the sad thing about it? That the person that took me home was the same doctor that did the surgery, and then no Christian came to pick me up in the hospital. Even Christians betrayed me and stole money in my bank, and I had to declare bankruptcy. I ate more pizza and Chinese food for 3 years. Listen, I was so connected with the Chinese place that one day I left my $10 home. She said, I know you'll be back. Don't worry about it. Right? And I'm not mocking any nationality. I'm saying is that I've been in broken places. You could be kneeling in the gate called Beautiful, like in the beggar in the book of Acts in chapter 3, and still be in a broken place, still be in a fragmented place, in a hurting place. And this woman came up to the altar. I told her, my God can heal you and save you. I told her. And she renounced Islam. She renounced Muhammad. She renounced the Quran. And she accepted Jesus in her heart. And check this out. I came back a year later. The pastor said, come back, I want you to preach. I came back a year later. There was a woman waiting for me at the door. I didn't know, because I've been so many places.
This is the problem, though. Like, even if that lady renounced everything, she was in a vulnerable place already. So he used that against her to bring her into something that she believed could fix her problem. Now, I'm sure he's going to say that, like, God healed her and stuff, and I'm not saying... I mean, I don't think it was God. I am going to say that. I don't think it was God. But if she did live and there were... I don't know. That's the thing, though. Like, doctors can say that you're going to die in, like, 3 months, but sometimes they're wrong, and sometimes you live longer. That doesn't mean it was, like, a miracle or that some God came and, like, got rid of your cancer. And even if the cancer disappeared, there could have been other factors that played into that he had no idea about. And that's why, you know, researching and looking up things and actually having the true backstory to people, like testimonies and things like that, because I feel like in the church when they give testimonies, they're always talking about how, you know, it was God who did this or whatever, but they leave out the whole, like medical procedures or whatever that they went through in order to fix the problem. And Like, that's a huge part of the story too, and if you leave that out and you just put God in its place, that's not being truthful. That's it's a bias to make God seem like he's this all-powerful being that can heal you, even though there were other factors that could have gone into healing you that you don't tell people about.
I'm just sharing a little moment. That God is the God of yesterday, today, and forevermore. He has a plan for you. If you came here tonight, it wasn't an accident. It's purpose. It's purpose. It's purpose. It's purpose. One thing I tell people, my sister, one thing I tell people, I can lose money, I can lose friends, it hurts. I can lose family members, it hurts. I can lose everything. But one thing I learned in the kingdom, I cannot lose God's opportunities in my life. Understand? So this lady, I come into the church, she's waiting there with a big smile. And she said, remember me? I said, no, I don't. I'm sorry. I don't want to lie to you. I'm going to say, I remember you. I don't know. I'm not going. She said, I'm the lady who was supposed to die 6 months ago. She said, I went back to the doctors. And she said, and they did test after test, and the doctors couldn't believe it. They couldn't find a trace. See? Because prayer works. Your divine appointment today, that you're sitting here today, doubting and saying, should I come up to the altar? Should I give Jesus a try? Because you see, I try everything, but you haven't tried the best. Sometimes you have to leave the best to last. I tried this, I tried that, I chanted, I threw myself on the floor, I took a chicken and went all over like this, and whatever hogwash they do, I did sacrifice, I bought food.
All right, I think he's going to get into the altar call now, which I don't need to watch. But yeah, I'm trying to figure out if this guy is really just, if he actually believes what he's preaching. But there's so many factors that go into this, and so many things that could be causing this man to have these supposed things happening to him. And the way he talks doesn't make me think that a lot of him, yeah, he might have changed from being a witch or a Satanist or whatever he claimed to be to being a Christian. But there's still some major issues in this man's life that you can tell just by him preaching and having all these threats towards people. And I don't know. I feel like this is a dangerous person, though, and that he should not be preaching to a bunch of people about things that he doesn't understand. It just makes me sad. It makes me wonder how many people in the church deal with, mental health issues, and they really need the help. But they don't get the help they need because they're told that, like I said, it's demons or it's Satan or whatever that is making you feel this way or making you have these things happen to you in your life. But when you have someone like this who claims they're seeing like full-on hallucinations, and they believe that their parents were witches and that there were other things happening in their house that were causing demons and things to come into their house, I do have to wonder where his mental state is and if he does need help. But in this environment, within, the religious realm where they believe these things, he's never going to get the help he needs because people 100% believe those things are real, and they don't understand that he could have some type of mental issue that's causing him to believe that he's seeing those things. And that's scary to think there are people out there that really, truly, deal with these issues and they don't know how to fix them. And, we live in a time where we can fix things like this. We can get on medicine, or we can have therapy or other things that can help us be in a better mindset and help us understand our mental issues that we have. But when you're in an environment that tells you that those mental issues are because of a supernatural being as opposed to your physical self just having issues, it is scary. This guy, I definitely agree with, you know, people who said this guy scares them, because this is, if he truly, truly, truly believes all these things that he says happened, he really needs some help. And I really hope he doesn't snap one day, because that is so scary. Ugh. Anyways. Man. And I thought yesterday was crazy because he was just talking about being like a satanic witch, but today he got more into like things that he claims he did and things that happened to him, and it seems even more out of this world, because like, this is not reality. This is not how reality works. This is not how people's brains function correctly in the real world. So it's scary, man. It's very scary. And religion really does make this more of a problem, because people can cling on to religion like this and keep those fantasies or whatever alive, and religion just creates more problems. That's why I say religion is just damaging, because it just creates more problems in the end, and it doesn't actually help fix the problem. Anyways, I hope you guys enjoyed this crazy talk. Oh my goodness, my brain. I'm gonna have to go watch something happy now. Actually, I have to go to the store, so I'll have to go shopping. Maybe they'll have some good music in the store while I shop, so that I can get my mind off of just the crazy sermon that I heard today. Thank you guys. Bye, Color Me. Thank you guys for coming and watching. If you guys didn't see the first part, it's on here. And I also added it to my YouTube, and then I'll add this second part sometime later today. So if you didn't see it here, or if, you know, people who want to watch it on YouTube, I'll get it up for them too, because I know I have a lot of YouTube people that want to see these things, but I just can't do them live on YouTube for some reason. But I'd rather be safe than sorry, because I really want to keep my YouTube channel, because that's where I do all my animations. So thank you all for coming. Thank you to my patrons and their amazing support, and thank you all for your amazing support on here. And if you guys want to be a patron, you can go to patreon.com, Overprotected Atheist. Yeah, have an awesome day, guys, and I will see you tomorrow, and we'll have something different. Probably not a sermon. Probably have some maybe funner things. We'll see. We'll definitely have a few videos tomorrow, though. Bye, friends.